What's good, everybody? Dom here with Rival Sports alongside James and Paul. This is just the pilot episode, and for today's episode, we're going to talk about Wemby passing up the final shot, Luka and Kyrie's insane game, RJ Barrett's debut, Steph and the Warriors' struggles, Paolo Banchero, and the trade deadline. James, what do you have to say about the Wemby's game?
Yeah, honestly, I understand why Wemby could do it. He wants to be seen as a team player. Being the number one draft pick doesn't come easy. There's a lot of pressure, especially being under the coach Pop. Spurs had a great dynasty. He's a good coach, and I'm sure they have talked about that in practice. Like he doesn't need to be the only guy on the team and kind of embrace a team role. Um, yeah, I mean, Pop's always been a big team guy. So I feel like that's the culture that he's kind of passed down to Wemby. Wemby thought it was a good pass to Sohan, and that's whatever happened, he can live with regret, or but I personally think it was a good pass.
On to you, Paul.
Yeah, actually, I actually disagree. And I think the context is important when we're talking about Wenbenyama. You're talking about like the next best thing since what, LeBron, right? That's who we're talking
I'd say
about.
so.
Yeah. So, LeBron has gotten criticism over his entire career for passing the ball out in critical situations late in the fourth quarter. I understand the Pop thing and like the team culture, and that all sounds great, but Pop has never, I mean, he has created the talent with Tim Duncan and all them, right? But he's never just inherited someone who is immediately a superstar, right? So Wenbenyama is supposed to take the last shot, and passing it up tells me two things. My opinion on that, two things are, first off, he's just not ready. I don't think Pop's ready to allow him to take the last shot. Because realistically speaking, you're 7'3", 7'4", whatever he is. And where he caught the ball deep in the paint, I don't care if they send another person. It's an easy turn and post fade. Like he could have that all day if he wanted to. And there's not a soul that could contest that. I think the pass out worries me a little bit that, maybe Pop or maybe him, even worse, he consider himself to not be ready to take that level of a shot. Right.
The confidence level, and we saw that with Ben Simmons and the game against the Hawks. Maybe there's just too much media pressure on him, or just really embracing this superstar role, because for a while he was just a kid like hooping in France, and now he's the global phenom in the United States basketball, face of the Spurs, soon to be maybe the face of NBA.
I agree with that. I disagree with you, Paul. Given Wemby made the right pass, giving to Sohan. Sohan clearly could have just caught it, jumped, dunked. Simple. He kicked out, causing a turnover. I personally think that's in Sohan's hands for giving that up and not going up with it. I understand why you say it's his team, so he kind of gotta go get the bucket. But again, passing it off isn't also the worst thing he could have done. Like, I mean, you see LeBron with Kyrie. He lets Kyrie take the last shot in the finals. They sealed the game. They won the whole finals. Yes, Kyrie and Sohan are completely different players, but it's just about making the right play, in my opinion.
Yeah, no,
I
I
think
hear
that has a lot to do with people, as people.
no, I hear the argument that it's the right play, and it is the right basketball play outside of the context that it's the last shot. If this is the middle of the second quarter, nobody cares. That's the right basketball play, right? At the end of the fourth quarter, right? Sohan only makes the wrong play because he's in a position to make the wrong play. If Wemby keeps the ball, Sohan doesn't mess it up. Point period. So and if I pointed it to you and I said, hey, you can have Sohan take the last shot or you can have Wemby take the last shot. What are you saying? Like, just like be realistic here.
100% you're going to take Wemby. And even looking how Sohan did drop down, even if Wemby did, say, do a post hook, post anything, any move, Sohan's big. He was crashing. He could crash for that offensive rebound right there.
That's true. I agree with that. I mean, with seeing their record, they're not the greatest team. I do. What do you see about their future? Like, what do you think about them? Moving on next season after that. What do you guys see?
I mean, considering they get a top lottery pick, with the way they're playing this year. They got a good young star in Devin Vassell. They got a great coach. As long as the coach stays around, they get another, maybe a better guard, maybe a better wing. They got Sohan at the 1, and he's kind of like a Ben Simmons in a way. If he's passing out shots, open shots, he doesn't seem like he's confident in his game.
I'm iffy with that. I don't think that experiment, quote unquote, that they're doing over there it's not working.
Definitely not.
They're trying to turn a 4 into a guard. Yes, I mean you see him. He's like a Dennis Rodman. He's doing everything with his hair. He wants to be just like him. So of course, if I ask him to do something like step into the point guard role, he'll try it. Personally, for me, I like the idea just because again of his personality. I could think he could do it, but seeing it, I mean, I'd prefer just Trey Jones going in and starting over him. Put Jeremy at the 4. Great point with Devin Vassell. Really good player, up and coming. 3-and-D. He can get to a bucket whenever he wants to. Same with Wemby. So I mean, their future is bright, in my opinion. Um, I like Malachi Branham as well. Another great player. Don't know what they're gonna do with him, but I mean, they have a lot of options here. I'd like to see what they do moving forward. Paul, you got anything?
Yeah, no, I agree with the Sohan thing. That it's exactly what you called it. It's an experiment. Like, dude is,
Yeah.
it was a fun idea, right? And they might keep it out this way for the rest of the season just because there might not be a better option, right? That's the type of lineup they want to run. And to be honest with you, it loses games, which is kind of in their favor, right? Like that's not a team that's going to shake it up and make the playoffs or anything. But as far as like their draft lottery stock goes, I mean, pretty much anything is game with their draft options and like with their moves in free agency. Because like you guys mentioned, it's really Wemby, it's Vassell, right? And you can tell it's
Keldon
Vassell.
Johnson as well.
It's what's that?
Keldon Johnson.
Oh,
Keldon Johnson's
Keldon
also.
Johnson. That's true. That's true. Isn't he on a contract year, Keldon?
You got me there.
He might be on a
Sure.
contract year. I think that'll be big. I don't know if I see him. If that's the case, right? I'm not 100%, but if that's the case, I don't know if he's resigning in a place like San Antonio. That's a couple years out. That's a guy that could be a decent like third, fourth option somewhere else and get a decent bag. But I do love Vassell. I love Vassell's game, and you can tell when a coaching staff actually likes a player, especially offensively, when they let them shoot mid-range shots. Literally nobody's allowed to take mid-range shots unless you're like the dude, right? Like you're like a high volume dude. So I like Wemby. I like Vassell. Be interested to see what happens with Keldon Johnson and then like structuring the rest of the team moving forward.
James, did you fact check?
Yeah, so Keldon Johnson is on the team till 2027, and
Okay.
even if his contract was a problem, and say it was a contract year, he's always viable for a sign and trade. He's still not old to where he's out of his prime, or where he's he could be a good fit for a contender that's maybe selling a vet or somebody that can bring in to this group of guys, and possibly lift them into even the playoffs. Not make them a finals contender, but show them kind of playoff experience so they know what to roll with in the future when that guy takes a lesser role or ends up retiring.
My only problem with Keldon Johnson is that he's a 6'5" 4. That's what they had him playing last season. This year he's a 3. You look at someone like J Dub on the Thunder, Jalen Williams, also 6'5", and he's a 4, but very athletic. Keldon Johnson's sort of athletic. I mean, he got the ups, he got the bunnies, but as a 4, I don't know. I just don't see him playing the 4. Maybe another role. They can get someone else. Like I said, Jeremy can play the 4. Bump him back down to the 3. Devin Vassell at the 2. Trey Jones at the 1. Wemby at the 5. Perfect, just like that. Wemby's just very frail. I mean, we all know that. So right now they have Wemby at the 4. Zach Collins at the 5. I mean, that's fine, but that's my take on them. Got anything else about them or no?
I'd say we cover a good amount about the Spurs.
Okay. How we feel about moving over to Luka and Kyrie?
I'm really excited about that one. I like.
All right.
Yeah, we
You
know.
save it? You want to save it, or do you want to do it now?
No, we could do it now. That's fine. Keep it in order.
All right, go ahead. I'm gonna let you go since it's your team.
Okay.
Dallas
Yeah.
guy over here, and then James is a Philly guy, so we got a little rivalry going on.
Yeah. Well,
Especially with the playoffs
it's a
coming
lot
up.
friendlier on the NBA side of things. What Philly does doesn't really concern us basketball wise. It's football is a problem. So definitely the next podcast will beef a little bit harder. For now, we get to talk about the Mavs, which is great. I'm definitely a homer. Mavs, Cowboys, Stars, all those. And I watch every single Mavs game, so I can give you everything you need to know. This was a huge win over the Timberwolves. They've pretty much kicked our butt. I want to say twice before. twice pretty easily. It's their defense is great, their rebounding's fantastic, and we just don't match up well with them. Especially like a night like last night when we have to start someone like Dwight Powell at center. Full transparency, I can't stand him. I wish he was off the team. Yeah, we definitely miss our starting center when he's not there. But good news was Kyrie's back, and Luka's still doing Luka things. And the funny part about this is Luka, known for high efficiency first quarters, Kyrie known for very high efficiency fourth quarters. Not saying Luka can't be a fourth quarter guy, but they kind of like exchange those roles. Last night, they were all game guys, right? All game, all quarters. It didn't matter. I think they scored a combined, what was it? I think Kyrie finished with 35 and Luka 34. We fact check that. Pretty sure that's 69. Right. But yeah, 69 total points. And it was every time they touched the ball, it was an efficient move. They were getting to their spots, and they just didn't let Minnesota set the tempo with their defense, with their rebounding. They put guys in really difficult spots all night. And yeah, that was huge. I have a little bit more, but I want to give someone else a chance to talk before we get into that.
Yeah, James.
So kind of touching off like on your topic, I mean, it was a great home win. Obviously, you saw Kyrie and Luka go crazy. Timberwolves are great at defense. They're also a good rebounding team. With the Mavs not really having that established big, it was nice seeing them get a win and not get completely ran through. I mean, they were out rebounded 51-44, but I guess they just made their shots efficiently and just did it better. I'm not a big Mavs guy, so I couldn't really break down the game film, but I do know the Timberwolves have a hard defense. They're a great rebounding team. They got a good point guard, and they have a great shooting guard. They're good all around, and it was definitely a good win for the Mavericks.
All right, so as we just went over, Luka and Kyrie combined for 69 points, 14 rebounds, 13 assists. The reason why I loved that game, for example, is because with that being said, they did that against a team that allows the fewest points in the league at 107.7 points per game, which is the fewest in the league. Again, now where I think they went off and had a great game was I saw Luka getting screens from Josh Green and one from Grant Williams, and that led him to be covered by Karl Anthony Towns. Those screens, they switched cat with whoever was on him at the time. Typically, Jaden McDaniels is the best perimeter defender by far, one of the best in the league. So that's a big reason as to how Luka got all of his buckets. I saw a few of those, and then Kyrie had Ant-Man on him, who, in my opinion, has to conserve energy and stamina for offense. Really big for him. So that's kind of where they got off for me. Like that huge of a game because again, really the biggest thing was the cat thing. Getting him on the Luka. I won't say Luka's the fastest or faster, but I mean he's gonna get him with any move he really uses. He's a threat on a 3-level threat. Anyway, that's my take on that whole game. And yeah.
Yeah, no, it's exactly what you said. The Mavs, they do a great job every game. It's been their strategy since we've got Luka and since he kind of emerged as a superstar. They do an awesome job of setting him the screens, forcing teams to switch, and they essentially just hunt the weakest defender. Or like James said with Anthony Edwards on Kyrie, they'll take your best offensive player and force them into positions where they have to use them as defenders. Actually, I think that's what you said, Dom. My mistake. But yeah, they've been doing that since he got there. I'm glad to see that they're doing it with Kyrie as well, because it's like you can put them in positions where Luka can point out who he wants to guard you, right? And with Kyrie on the floor, you can't really defend that so well because it's like you're either getting Luka in a great spot or you're getting Kyrie in a great spot. I thought they did that specifically effectively yesterday. The big thing as a Mavs fan, the thing that scared me and what was kind of a turning point for this game is we were going back and forth. We've had the lead. Minnesota has the lead. In the second half, they really came out and kind of whipped our butts a little bit. And then we get to about 3.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and we're down 106-100 with Minnesota having the lead. And as a Mavs fan, I'm sitting there like, okay, we're against the number one defensive and rebounding, or one of the highest rebounding teams in the league. We're in big trouble right here, right? And with the thing that I thought was awesome was the Mavs end up only allowing 2 points in that final 3.5 minutes and go on a 15-2 scoring run. super efficient, great defense, great rebound, and like it was just one of those moments where we don't get opportunities very much to close out big games, and we did it against the number one team in the West. So like Mavs fan, that's a huge sigh or a huge sigh of relief for me, and like good to see, mid-season form gearing up for playoffs and what we should be a playoff team. So
You're right.
I agree with the take. I agree with that. I want to touch up on them again, but later in the episode because we're going to talk about the trade deadline and all of that.
yeah,
So we're
yeah.
going to save that. I know you want to get onto it, but we're going to save it. We're going to move on to the debut of Mr. RJ Barrett. James, you take it off because I know you're really excited about it.
Honestly, I'm just gonna talk about the whole trade in general. I am kind of a Knicks fan, and I slightly like the Knicks. They had to move on from that
Big
piece.
Knicks
Jalen
guy.
They had to move.
Yep.
Brunson. Yep. Jalen Brunson.
They had to move on from Mr. RJ Barrett, but everyone knows RJ Barrett. He's at home again. I
Yeah.
feel like on the Knicks, he was the third option. He was
Yeah.
looked at wrongly. I mean, he had a good playoff stretch last season, but in the regular season, he's not hitting his shots when he needs to be hitting his shots.
Let me
So,
ask you a question. On the on the Toronto Raptors team, what do you see him as? What option? Because I'm gonna say Scotty's first. Now we putting him 3 again because of Pascal. Putting him 2. They also got Emmanuel Quickly there. They got a lot of threats. Where are you putting him at?
I mean, depending on how they run their starting lineups, I know Quickly did start the one game. I don't know if he did start again last night, but I think if his confidence comes back, his shooting numbers go up, I could see him as the second option and maybe Pascal taking a lower role. Or as we'll talk about later, maybe Pascal is a trade target. Maybe Pascal's not there, so they maybe want to push him out, maybe develop RJ Barrett a little bit more. Kind of see him as a threat, somebody to take over games, or someone, if they were to make the playoffs, who's going to help them lead the way?
Right. Paul?
Yeah, well, as long as I know we're not talking about trades yet, but as long as Pascal Siakam's on the team, he definitely deserves to be the number one option. I'd sneak peek in a later segment. I don't think he's going to be there much longer, right? He's probably got till the end of the month, maybe creeping into February. I think with that, we kind of opened the door for RJ Barrett to be possibly a fringe number one scoring option on that team. I think Quickly's got an opportunity to sort of like break out. I wouldn't bet on that happening, but it's a possibility. But if we're looking at it and we go, hey, okay, do you want Scotty Barnes? Do we want RJ Barrett? Or do we want to build around Isaiah Quickly? I think offensively, you're taking RJ Barrett, who has the most well-rounded offensive game, in my opinion. Not to discount Scotty. Scotty's great, but I think he's definitely more of a second or third offensive option and a guy that gives you great versatility, like defensively and on the rebounds.
I agree with that. I'm gonna move into home fixing my stuff. I want to touch up on what you just said. I personally disagree, but I understand where you're coming from with the whole Pascal's number one at the moment. If anything, I want them to do that only because fitting his trade value up, which makes the most sense. But we were talking about this a few days ago. 26% from the three is a little scary, given that all the NBA about this year now is the 3-point shot. So, but yeah, I understand why you said number one. But as of right now, I think Scotty is. He's clearly earned it. He's playing lights out this season, having a great season overall. But RJ Barrett, he had 38, 6 and 6, 13 for 20 from the field, 5 for 8 from the three. He had a heat check three. I saw that. Well, let him do his thing. He's a bucket. Let him get to his bucket. And I mean, Emmanuel quickly had what? 10 assists. I've never seen him pass like that. But they gave him the point guard role, and I guess he's a passer now. He had like 9 points. Didn't shoot very efficient. But other than that, I mean, he looks okay. So the whole starting five is gonna look like, I'm assuming Dennis Schroeder's gonna get knocked out of the starting lineup. They're probably gonna have Emmanuel quickly. I'm gonna go with Gary Trent, Scotty, RJ, and oh no, sorry. We're gonna go. What's his face? Emmanuel quickly. Then at the 2, we're gonna have RJ at the 3, Scotty at the 4, Pascal at the 5, Jakob Pertl. I like that. That looks good to me.
Who
And
you having
off
at
the
your
bench,
one?
Emmanuel quickly.
Schroeder?
Emmanuel quickly. I think they're gonna get him out of there. He's getting older, so might as well,
Most NBA teams
clearly they're
apparently
rebuilding.
don't like Schroeder very much. He can't seem to get a long-term contract anywhere. So
Yeah, which is
That was half of that was his fault.
yeah,
He got offered
yeah,
one.
the free agency
never took it.
mishap.
Yep, that was bad, man. That was
Yeah.
got a lot of less money.
Remember
I hope
one
he
time
fired his
I
agent.
sold it back like that.
Get the hell out of here. Anything else you guys got for the Raptors? The 6.
No,
Um,
I agree with you. Like I said, I prefer RJ in that spot, but I could definitely see where you're coming from there. Like I think when they do these rebuild opportunities for teams, like we saw with like OKC and things, they're just really kind of stacking young players with some talent and just see who emerges, right?
Yeah.
And I could see any of those 3 guys coming out as number 1.
I'm gonna say this. Take it how you want, but I could see Scotty being their 1 in the future. He's a great passer. See, I knew you were gonna do that. He's a great playmaker. Saying that is not far fetched. We'll see with due time. But in my
the
opinion,
problem with having Scotty at your 1, and you just trade for Emmanuel quickly. Like I said, I'm slightly a Knicks fan. I've watched the games where Brunson and Quickly have been in the game, and Quickly will take the ball. He will take the shots. He's gonna be the one he's fast. He's gonna get down the court. He's gonna take quick shots, especially if they're down. He jacks up things sometimes that aren't smart. But I just feel like maybe if he kind of embraces a team role more in Toronto, didn't really seem like he was really like in a team role in New York, coming off the bench. He knows he's a good player. Maybe in Toronto he acts different, but if he continues to play how he played on the Knicks, I don't see anybody really stepping up to take that number 1, especially if Pascal's gone, but him.
I don't know, man. I mean, like I said, he
Especially
had 1 game with 10 assists. He's not known as a playmaker.
uh,
Again,
that's one
Scotty's
game.
triple-double watch. Scotty's triple-double watch. Every game. He can do it.
He
Why
had
not?
10 assists on the game. He shot 4 for 10.
That's what I'm saying. He didn't
And
even shoot efficiently.
RJ was making his shots.
Yes, I
I think
understand what you're
that's.
saying. Go ahead.
I just don't see him giving up that 1 spot. If he's taking shots like that, I
Well,
mean,
it's not his call. It's not his
he
call
made
if
it.
he can give it up.
He made it
He's
his.
new. He's a rookie
made
on the
it.
team.
He made it his call in New York.
Okay, but Scotty's their guy as of right now.
They don't even know. They don't even know who their guy is. The Toronto's in a nutshell. Toronto's been in a nutshell.
Scotty's what, 21, 22? I mean, look at how much better he's just gotten over what, 1-2 seasons. I mean, rookie of the year didn't just come because they wanted to give it to him. He earned it. He's a great player. We'll see what he can do in the future. I do want to see them experimenting him at the 1. I mean, if Sohan can, then anyone can. I could be a 1. I mean, at this rate, fuck it.
I mean, Muggsy Bogues was a 1, so
5'3". I'm taller than him, so watch your mouth.
I mean, if we're still on this, wait. If we're talking about the Raptors, we might as well hit the Warriors and how the Warriors play, the state of the Warriors.
Yeah, right.
I
That's
mean,
fine.
yeah, we saw Chris Paul go down with an injury a couple days ago. He's gonna be out for what was it, 1 to 3 months, or was it weeks? I think it was like a thumb injury. I could be mistaken, but I mean, the Warriors, their record is 17-19. They're 11th seed in the West. The real question is, what is going on in Golden State? They're known to be a great home team. They're 11-10 at home this year.
Paul, you can touch up on that.
Yeah. Fact check. That was 4 to 6 weeks. He's about to undergo surgery next week with a 4 to 6 week recovery. So he's going to be out a substantial period of time. I know people are kind of freaking out. I say people, like a handful of people online are freaking out about the Curry drought from yesterday's game. What did he shoot? 2 for 10? Do I have that right?
2 for 14, 0 for 9 from 3.
2 for 14. Yikes. I know his percentage is down. His field goal percentage down 2 from 47 to 45 this season. He's a career 47% field goal, and down roughly 2.5 from 42.6% from the 3-point line to 38.8. Those are still good numbers, mind you. Like, those are still fairly effective, but the substantial drop 2 to 3% in each category, that's kind of a big dip. And a lot of people are going to look at Curry and be like, oh, okay, like this is when he finally falls off. He's getting older. I think he's 33, 34 now, which is like, you're like 1 foot out, like as far as professional sports goes, especially in
5.
basketball. Yeah. So he's getting up there. But I actually don't think this is a representation of Curry and on him being on his way out or anything like that. I think it's more so a representation of the state of the team. I think James mentioned they're like 11th place right now, like half a game.
11th in the conference and 11-10 at home.
Yeah.
Everyone knows the Warriors. They were dominant at home.
Yeah, I think they're only half a game up against on the Jazz, and we all know what kind of crap show the Jazz have been this season. So, like, yeah, to only have half a game on the Jazz definitely represents the state of the organization at the moment. Trading Jordan Poole, the Chris Paul injury, the Draymond behavior and disciplinary actions, like they're missing a lot of key pieces. And when Clay that guy is on the decline, right? With Clay on the decline and talking about bringing him off the bench and all this other stuff, it's like teams are just have the opportunity now with all the missing pieces to really, really focus up on Steph. And I think, this is a season that's showing in the percentages, and you're just going to have games like that, 2 for 14 from time to time when, you're already having a bad day. You're not getting great looks. Defenses are hounding you because you're the only guy out there, right? So
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what GSW does from this point, because with Paul out, apparently, 4 to 6 weeks from this point, it could be bleak by the time we're on the other side of All-Star break.
Yeah, I think one of their problems this year is just like, I feel like with the offseason, the beginning of the season to now, I mean, they had a good offseason, getting rid of Poole, signing Chris Paul. Everyone thought that was going to be a great trade, help out a lot. But, I mean, it seems like they're kind of just too media involved now. It's like every other week a report is coming out about something happening. You see players are unhappy there in their role. You see star players getting benched because they don't know their identity right now. They're not the Warriors we once saw win a championship, or the multiple times we saw them win a championship. I think they're still kind of figuring out their identity as a team this season with their departures. With Draymond getting suspended, Wiggs kind of dropping off, Clay kind of declining, Poole leaving, Paul coming and then getting injured. I feel like they've had a lot of shakeups this year, and they're still kind of lost in trying to find how they can cultivate into the team they once were.
Right. I have a few things to touch up with that Warrior team. So of course Steph, you know, backbone of that team. He's having a good season. He's averaging 27, 4 and 4, 45 from the field, and 40 from the three, which is, typical Steph fashion hooping. But I want to touch on Brandon Podziemski. Love him. I love him. 20 years old. He's a rookie, left-handed, so he's special in that way. He's averaging 9, 5, and 4 rebounds in just 24 minutes a game. Okay, let's go look at his per 36. So per 36 has him at 14, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists. He's 6'5", by the way. He's shooting 41% from the three, 46 from the field. And again, he's out there rebounding. 2.3 offensive rebounds per game per 36. That's amazing. That's a GP2, Gary Payton. That's when they had him getting offensive rebounds, doing everything on the floor, right? Playing defense. He's just, I don't know if he's a dunker like that. But he's shooting, like, really good percentage. Really big fan of him. We can touch on Kuminga. I mean, man, what are they doing with him? Like, what are they doing with Kuminga? I want to know what you guys,
I was really
think about
excited for Kuminga coming out of the draft. They had a bad season. They got a high pick, and maybe like a high flyer to help with their Splash Bros identity. I thought he was going to be kind of the next big thing, and have Draymond take him under the wing and kind of turn him into a superstar for their team, or maybe a superstar for the league. But it just seems like it hasn't worked out, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's Steve Kerr doing it, or if it's him as a person not playing hard enough, training hard enough, doing bad at practice. But I don't even know. I just wish he was better.
Yeah, well,
If you didn't see, we had Kuminga having a really good game, getting benched all of the fourth quarter, and people questioning why. No clue. I'd like to know as well.
I don't
Um,
think anybody knows why.
with Steve Kerr, is how good of a coach is he? Without Mark Jackson and him being there with rookie Steph, I mean, Mark Jackson built all of them, all of them. He didn't build Jordan Poole. He didn't build, I guess, Andrew Wiggins, like you could say, but that was Steve Kerr. But that's not where I'm going with this. It's how good of a coach is he? He doesn't know how to develop young players while contending, which a lot of people probably don't know how to do that. But I mean, with how good Kuminga is doing, he could literally develop him while they're contending. With how good he's playing, with Draymond doing what Draymond does. He also said he was gonna retire, but Adam Silver stopped him from doing it. I don't know what that's all about. But I don't know. I just personally don't know how good of a coach Steve Kerr really is.
no, I'm gonna jump in right here. So just because, in my opinion, right, just because a coach isn't a great player development coach does not mean that they're a bad coach, right? So I'm going to hop back to my Mavs, right? Take Rick Carlisle, for example. Mavs fans know 2011, our only championship, that guy brought it to us, right? But was renowned for not being able to develop talent. I'm going to throw a name out here that only Mavericks, like deep, hardcore Mavericks fans know. Roddy Beaubois. It's like a 6'3" guard out of France, was supposed to be the next big thing. Could not develop under Carlisle for anything, but he had all the talent in the world. Carlisle still got us to a championship, right? So going back to Steve Kerr and connecting that, although we did bring up the fact that Jackson developed most of those guys, including Steph, right? And Kerr, a lot of people like to say that Kerr sort of reaped the fruit, right? He got all the benefit from that and just sort of like ran with the team. But Kerr implemented a system that was best for those players when he inherited the players, right? That system that they run in Golden State and have run changed the entire league, right? Like, yes, Curry is definitely a part of that. His individual talent stands out in the system, right? But adding Clay to that, adding Draymond as like a primary passer and ball handler on occasion, like who'd have thought that, right? That's good coaching, right? That's good coaching. Now, another signal for his lack of ability to develop young players, which I think is eerily similar to the Kuminga situation, is the Jonathan Wiseman handling, right? We remember that. That was a high draft pick. They had injuries that year. They go out and they pick up Wiseman, and everyone's like, great. Now they are the Warriors coming back from all these injuries, and they get a top-tier center coming in off the draft. And Wiseman just didn't pan out, right? So we had Poole pan out, but not Wiseman, and Kuminga's following the same path. It makes me feel like that system just isn't fantastic for big forwards and big men, right? That's why they wanted to incorporate Draymond the way they do. And if you can't play that style, then that's where you get guys like the Loonies, or historically speaking, the Andrew Bogut's in those 5 spots that are just those pure big screen setting rebounders. And they don't love the athleticism as much. Exactly. So, I disagree with the premise that Kerr is a bad coach for that. But I do think that they're on hard times because of a little bit of their personnel at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, good coaching. Interesting. Again, how he was having such a great game, just doesn't play in the fourth quarter at all. What is that?
Listen, I coached for a little bit, right? And I can tell you
Is this a newer
sometimes.
thing?
What's that?
Did he just develop into a coach that doesn't know how to put players in this place? Like, that just happened out of nowhere? That's
I
something
mean,
you
we saw
cannot
that
miss.
we saw that with Doc Rivers though on the Sixers. Just being, don't know when. You can go, Paul.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't stand this. Kerr is a good coach. He's won multiple championships, right? And we don't know the intricacies of a coach's systems. Like, we see it as an audience, as consumers of the entertainment, and we see it on the shallow end. And then we see these awesome performances from the players. But we don't know what it takes to get those awesome performances from the players as far as the system is concerned. And also, from a coaching standpoint, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes with Kuminga. He might have had an awesome game, and then you run over to the coach and say something just wacky out of line, right? And then you're beefing with the coach all of a sudden, and it requires discipline. Like, I'm not saying that's what happened, but a similar situation could have happened. We just don't know. And to assume that Kerr can just sit here and watch someone have a good game and then be like, okay, your good game is done, right? There's no more reason for you to continue your good game. That's just, to me, that's just like, you got a multiple championship winning coach. There's no way that's the case. I want to give good, successful coaches the benefit of the doubt.
I don't look at Doc Rivers and think he's a good coach, and he has a ring. Look at that Celtics team he had. Kerr's a
But the
great
Warriors
coach.
didn't have a ring; they had a dynasty. They were
That's
making, even if they didn't win every year, they were there every year. Sixers, any Doc Rivers led team. Let me not even say the Sixers. A Doc Rivers led team was not there every year. They were there one time with the Boston Celtics. He's not a good coach. He was carried by the players. And I'm sure Kevin Garnett had a big vocal expression in that championship run, kind of like we saw LeBron do with Tyronn Lue.
Curry.
Huh?
One word, Curry. Saying LeBron, KG, Curry.
I guess so, but
Right. Thank you for your time. Next topic, Paolo Banchero. What you got for me, James?
you can't even end like that. That's not
Again,
how you end.
debunked
Kerr is
your
a
whole
great
theory.
coach.
Debunked your whole.
Kerr is a great coach. They're just too
Ah,
media involved right now. When you weren't seeing the Warriors on a headline every other week with an injury, or you got your players throwing haymakers like they're prime Mike Tyson. I mean, they were a great team. They couldn't be stopped.
those Warriors got a little lucky a lot. A lot of lucky. Sorry. A
You
lot of
can't call
lucky.
lucky in playoffs.
I mean, Chris Paul
And
gets
it's,
injured. They're up 3-2. All of a sudden, Chris Paul goes down for the Rockets. Then they lose the series.
also, I mean, I'm a big James Harden fan. I watched some games, but they weren't making them 3-pointers.
They were still up in the series. Chris Paul goes down. They lose the series. I mean, come on, man. Like,
They came back from a 3-1.
Hey,
Also blew a
injuries
3-1
injuries
lead,
are
but
part of it, man. Like, you play who's in front of you.
I
You play
know.
who they put out on the court.
I hate Steve
yeah.
Kerr. Let's move on. I'm getting mad. Before I get upset. Let's go to Paulo, dude.
I'm really
Yeah,
excited about this
Paulo.
I'm also
conversation. I
excited.
know Dom and
I
I are
am
going to
too, and I'm
disagree.
ready. I'm ready. James, what you got? I'll let you go first.
No, you can go first. You can go.
Okay. Paulo Banchero.
Wow.
23, 5 and 7. 46 from the field, up 5% from last season. 38.5 from the three, up 11% from last season.
And he's only 21.
Progression. Paul, what's wrong with you?
I haven't even said anything. Nobody knows that there's anything wrong with me yet.
Oh, I know there is. I can see your facial
So
expressions. You don't like him.
tell me this, okay? So we're seeing the steady progression from Paolo, which is what you love to see, right? You said he's 23, 7 and 5 for the season. Those are great numbers, okay? What are you taking from this? Like, what does that mean for Paolo going forward?
Progression.
Right. What's the end game? Is he going to be top 5 in the league? Is this the last 5-game stretch where he's had 28, 27, 43, 32, and 35? Those are all well above his
hear
stats.
these numbers? Do you hear these numbers?
Those are huge. Those are huge numbers. Those are huge
This
numbers.
And that's just points wise.
This isn't a Danny Granger scenario we got going on here.
Easy. We're
You
not
understand?
doing the Danny Granger
I'm
slander.
sorry,
We
Danny
don't do
Granger
that.
slander has to come.
No,
It's
no.
true. Danny Granger had a season.
I want you to make a statement for me right here, and this is going to help me formulate my argument. Okay, tell me, he's 23, 7 and 5 right now, right? His team is competing for a playoff spot, right? They started out hot and they've kind of floundered a little bit recently, right? Where is Paolo by the end of this season? Do they make the playoffs? And tell me where he's at in his prime. What do his numbers look like in his prime to you?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Paulo has potential to. It's gonna sound crazy. LeBron potential stat wise, number wise, not like 77,000 rings, MVPs, all this, all that. I mean like just strictly off of points, assists, rebounds. He could get up there. I mean, he's progressed in everything. 23, 5 and 7, 5 assists. That's good. It's 4.8. I just rounded up. I mean, he's progressing in every single way you can ask, even defensively. He's primary ball handling as well, man. Like, with the help of Jalen Suggs, who I'm a really big fan of, he found his role playing really good defense. He's a little bit of a light switch. He's on and off. He can go get you 30 one night, go get you 10 the next night on horrible efficiency. But big fan of him as well. That team, I do think they can make a playoff run. And then Paulo, I think he can get a few MVPs in there. That's all I'm gonna say. Yes,
Wow.
I'd say 2. He could get 2.
I mean, we saw the Magic be the 13 seed last year, and I don't know if this is too early to say anything. They didn't
lay it on
add.
him.
They didn't add anybody huge in the
They didn't.
offseason. They drafted Anthony Black. I think they might have got another rookie, but the
Yeah, they
Magic
got,
are the 4th seed right now.
Jet Howard? I think they got
Yeah,
Jet
Jett
Howard.
Howard. I don't think he plays a lot though.
Uh-uh.
So I mean, you see the Magic from the 13th seed at the end of last season to almost halfway through the season, they're at the 4th seed. You know, they're tied with the Knicks for 4th place. They're 2.5 games back from the Sixers. And I think you got to give credit to Paulo here. I mean, you saw him beat the Denver Nuggets. He put up
Are you ready?
32,
Are you
10,
ready?
and 11.
Are you ready?
I'm about to kill him right here. Are you ready?
Oh my god. Yep.
Paul, you can't say that. Paul, you can't say that.
Oh, my bad. We'll bleep that out.
TOS.
Okay, check this out, all right? Let me preface this. I'm not going to say anything wild, okay? So let me preface this by saying Paolo Banchero is a good player, right? On an improving team. I think that they could be a playoff team. I could see them probably at best a 4th or 5th seed, which is obviously like a great improvement. Okay, that's a fantastic improvement. In my opinion, right? They're not beating the Bucks. I don't see them ahead of the Cavs, right? There's a couple teams there I think they're in the shuffle with. I could see them 4th or 5th seed.
They got heart, man. They got heart.
They can be gritty at times. Here's the problem that I have with Paolo, right? He's got the highest usage rate on this team, 23 points. Okay. If we're talking about, I know I'm a little bit older than you guys. If we're talking about the mid 2000s, 23 points is one of the league leaders. Okay. It's 2023 or 2024 now. That you're 10, 11 points behind the league leader in Embiid, and Luka is right there behind him, right? At 30, I think Luka's at 33.7. I don't know exactly what Embiid is at. 33.7 for Luka. He's a whole 10.5 points higher than Paolo, who was the highest usage rate on his team. Now, I'm not saying that Paolo needs to be Luka by any means, okay? Those are not my expectations for him, okay? But what I am saying is, look, check this out. Everybody wants to see these last 5 games with these high numbers. What we're not taking into consideration are minutes played. The minutes played, especially in that 43-point outburst, 45 minutes, 45 minutes. He averages, I think, just a tick under 35 minutes a game. So he got an extra 10 minutes. That's almost an entire quarter. Dude got an extra entire quarter to blow up right there. Okay, and it's not only that. His last 3 games where he's had 43, 32, and 35, he's had 41 minutes, 45 minutes, and another 41-minute outing. Those minutes, that output is not consistent. You can't play players above 40 minutes for an entire season. That output's just not it, right? So it's going to dip back down, and he's going to come back to reality. I think by the end of the season, is he a 25-a-game scorer? Yeah. Is that good? Yes. But is that, potential 36 MVPs like Dom is saying? Absolutely not. Dude is not sniffing MVPs with 23 to 25 points a game. It's not his league. It will never be his league. I'm sorry to say that, because he is an exciting talent. When you're in a league with guys like Shea, with guys like Luka, it just can't be, man. He's always going to be on the back wheel.
He's better than your favorite player. That's all I'm saying.
He's better than who?
Your favorite player.
He's better than Luka Doncic right now?
Of course, it's Luka.
It was smart to take your face cam off when you said that. We don't want to.
I need to get the charger.
With the wild statements. It's crazy. That's crazy. James, you
had a point there. I do respect your point, right?
Yeah, James.
He's playing all these minutes and all these games.
Let him know.
But as an important standpoint, we're talking about most valuable player. Yeah, he's not putting up 36 points per game. Yeah, he might be playing 45 minutes, but his team's doing better. He's playing more and his team's doing better. That ain't Cole Anthony taking over games, or Jalen Suggs, or Anthony Black. Even, Franz Wagner. He he has his on and off games, their like main focal point is Paulo, and it's been Paulo. So I mean, he's still young enough to play these minutes, and he really hasn't been cursed with any injuries. I mean, yeah, he can't come be doing that down the stretch, but I definitely feel like it's a great improvement, and it shows good flashes for the future of what he could potentially be.
But like, here's the gray area. I agree with you that he's a good player and showing flashes, right? Here, I'm pulling up the Eastern Conference standings at the moment. The Magic are sitting at 4, right? They started hot, they floundered, they're kind of like meh at the moment. Okay. Number 5, tied with them, are the Cavaliers. Is he better than the best player on the Cavaliers, Donovan Mitchell?
No, but is he as old as him either?
No. Number 6 are the New York Knicks. Is he better than the best player on the Knicks, Jalen Brunson?
Is he as old as him?
But we're talking right now. I mean, you're going to make crazy statements about what, 10 years from now, he's going to have 6 MVPs or whatever you said?
I didn't
But
say
look,
6.
the Magic, they're at the 4 seed right now. We just saw what the Knicks did. They just went and made a trade. Who's to say the Magic aren't buyers at the deadline, seeing how good they're doing, and getting maybe him some help so he plays less minutes, shoots more efficiently, gets less defensive pressure off of him.
No, that's all possible. That's all
Yeah.
possible. What piece are the Magic missing? Like where do they need to go? This might be a good segue for the trade talk here.
I mean, man, there's a lot of things they could do. They have a lot of point guard minutes. Markel
They just need
Fultz is out
experience.
with an injury. Experience is a good one. Jonathan Isaac is always out, always injured. They got to get rid of him. He got to get out of the league at this point. He's pissing me off.
That'd be a thing for the Guangdong Tigers.
I do think they should definitely get some vets. He had a good point. They're a very young team. They can only make it so far. So I don't know.
Do you think this is the year for them to get vets, or is this another growing year? Right? Like, because you want vets when it's time to make playoff runs and playoff pushes. Is this one of those times where we think they're capable of a deep playoff push, or do they just need to grow together?
They need
I
to
say
grow.
honestly, yeah. Take the team chemistry. Say you finish 6, 7 seed, or even you make the play and you make the playoffs. So you guys lose. You guys lost as a team. It helps you grow, and then maybe that off season, depending on your pick, trade the pick, or trade some of your lacking guys like Fultz, maybe trade Fultz or trade Isaac. Try to get a vet for some experience for when you're ready to make that big jump next year, especially with your guys getting that playoff experience, getting that hunger for the playoffs because they finally have grasped what it can be. Finishing 13, 14 seed every year, you're not that hungry for it. Going there once, it gets addicting.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think right now the template for these rebuilding teams like the Magic is something like the Thunder, right? You have to look over at the Thunder and see what they're doing, and I don't see any massive trades. I see a bunch of guys on a team that were you and all those rounded up amount of picks that they did from all the trades that they had from Westbrook, KD, and Harden, and all them, right? Everything that they blew up. See a bunch of guys growing together, and we're seeing sort of the fruits of all of that happening. And they're not trading anybody. They're just growing together. They're working through it. And one of them is emerging, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, right? As just the guy. Maybe that'll be Paolo coming out of the other side for the Magic. But I think that's the template. And I agree with James saying that they need to just stick it through without any trades.
Yeah, they just got to find the hunger for themselves.
That name you just
Like,
used, Shea.
Shea's
He
the
might
man.
be pushing Luka, man. He might be
Oh,
pushing
stop.
Luka.
He'll never be.
Hey, Shea is a bucket.
Shea's a baller. I agree.
And he plays defense.
Shea's a baller. Listen, he's right behind Luka. He's right there.
I hate
I'd
it.
say
Luka's the man.
I'd say it's 1A, 1B, if anything.
Yeah, because
That's
he's
probably
not.
the closest comparison.
They put. I don't know, because put Shea on
But
the.
their team culture fits him a lot better. I feel like the Mavericks don't have the team culture for Luka. Like Shea on the Thunder fits that role. I mean, you saw them, the four of them on the cover of Slam magazine. Like they have built a culture kind of around Shea's vibe. Like you got guys like Lou Dort exactly like him, J Dub
Take that
like
back.
him.
Take that back.
What?
I mean, they just went from Dirk to Luka. You can't get any better than that. He
What do you
fits
mean?
right in.
It is
You're saying that.
like a European star culture is typical in Dallas, right? So like
Yeah, they
he
just
fits
went from
right
Yeah.
in.
now Luka.
Yeah, but then you got Luka, you got Kyrie, then you got Tim Hardaway. Like they're all different people. I feel
I
like
hear
they
you're saying
they
chemistry
don't
wise.
chem well. Yeah, chem well, like team culture. I mean, yeah,
We'll
I
see.
mean, there's a
We'll see in
team
the playoffs.
identity.
We'll see in the playoffs. I mean, last season, what did they do in the playoffs? Oh wait, Paul, what happened?
So do we want to talk trades, or what are some buyers in the trades right
Yeah,
now?
that's what I thought. Yeah, we can do trades online. I got Pascal, I got Zach, I got the OG RJ, Buddy Hield, and then contenders.
Okay.
What can they
Talk
get?
to me about Pascal. I think that's like the biggest star, right? Like it's the biggest name in the trade market right now.
Zach's up there. You just want to talk spicy because the team you want might get him.
Do you think Zach is up there? You can talk Zach. Tell me because
Yeah,
you'll be educating me right now because I don't
I'd
know about
rather
Zach.
go. So, all right, here's the thing with me and Zach. It's very off and on. I don't know what team would really need him. He's like, I know the Sixers were gonna go for him, but then that's kind of like the ego thing that they were talking about over in Philly. How like if they get him, then he might have an ego like James Harden did, so he might not fit. But then at the same time, I'm thinking, well, if they need someone to get the last shot, and Embiid's a center. I hate when centers get the last shot; it just looks weird. And then Tyrese, he's young. I don't know if they want him doing it just yet. Zach would fit right in for that fourth quarter last second shot. Perfect. So, but at the same time, the ego thing. He's out. I heard about the Lakers pushing for Zach. I mean, what are we trying to do here? Lakers need defense.
The
They need
Lakers are
everything but a
always
Zach.
they're always in there with
They're
her trade.
everywhere.
It doesn't
Yes,
mean anything.
anybody.
It's just
Even
that
there for
Los Angeles
Pascal.
media. It's like I don't even know who to compare it to. It's like the Knicks. Oh, we're gonna get Zion. Oh, we're gonna get AD this year. Oh, we're gonna get this person. It's just the LA media. They're a big market. I mean, they have the money. I mean, there is a salary cap, but they're always a big market team.
Yeah.
So
Do
what
you,
do
You
we
don't
think
hear
about
Zach
Zach
Levine.
then? Like what team? When you think Zach Levine, you think this team?
I could
I've
see
got
him going to the Warriors. Genuinely,
Warriors.
That's a
moving on from
unique
Klay
answer.
Thompson or moving on from
Okay.
Andrew Wiggins.
Get away from some of those young
Okay.
pieces they can't seem to develop. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't seem to develop for no reason. I'd develop them. Whatever. Steve Kerr sucks. Keep going.
I've got two teams. I got two teams in mind, both Eastern Conference, and one of them was already mentioned. It's like going to be a meme or whatever because it is a big market team. I think the Knicks, dude. I think the
Knicks.
Knicks would be awesome. Look, everybody knows, dude. They want to get rid of Julius Scandal, right? They want to offload the contract. They want to get away from him, right? Chicago might take Randall and some picks or something, whatever might incentivize them to take a trade like that, and they get Jalen Brunson, a high scoring running mate. You know, I think that Zach LaVine is definitely going to benefit from having a place that's got a certified foundational star. I think Brunson's the dude over there, and I think those two could play really, really well together. The second one, and may or may not hit because we mentioned the ego with Zach LaVine. I think the Heat. I think the Miami would be an awesome fit for Zach. You know, they do develop young talent over there pretty well. They take a lot of no-name guys consistently and could, they might be able to attract something with the likes of like Hero and some other like throw-in pieces, some draft picks. They might be able to entice the Bulls into that. And I think a high-scoring, 25 plus PPG a night guy could fit really well into that defensive culture over there. Just to have a guy that's a bucket with the aging, Butler.
I like
But
that. I like that.
I don't think you move on from Hero though to get Levine.
I
Hero,
mean,
I feel like Hero. Yeah, he's not there yet, but how much better are the Heat if they get rid of Hero and bring in Zach Levine?
So
probably a
And
couple points per game better.
that's where I say
I think
instead
they
of
got a
him,
point guard problem.
I get that, but where he's going with this, I can see. Not Hero, I'd honestly go because he's been popping off as of recently. Jaime Jaquez having a really good season. I'm sure you value Tyler Hero over him, but the Bulls are rebuilding, man. Like they don't need a hero type of guy. They could go for Jaime Jaquez, who's younger. Kobe White looks really good right now, so Jaime Jaquez would be just fine. I'd say they'd package Jaime Jaquez, maybe Nikola Jovic, maybe a few picks here and there. I don't know, whatever they want to do to get Zach, which wouldn't be
Contracts
bad.
don't
Then
match up.
they'd have a backup of Tyler Hero, who I think would be their one, Zach LaVine, who would be their two. I said DeMar, blanking. Jimmy Butler at their three, and then wherever they want to go from there. I'd say like maybe
What
Caleb Martin,
what
and
I
then
think they should do is move on from Kyle Lowry.
I
do
mean,
Kyle Lowry, do Jovic. It's just what people do in trades when they want to get rid of them. I mean, you saw how the Bulls had a great record for the first, I think, 16 games Zach LaVine missed it. I think they're 10-6 or something like that. They did a lot better without Zach LaVine because of that ego problem that they say. I mean, you have to match the contracts. That's the thing. If you traded Jovic and you traded Jaime Jaquez, you can't just get Zach LaVine. You would have to
yeah.
maybe throw in Duncan Robinson. They don't want to lose Duncan Robinson. He's a great 3-point threat for them. Great one.
I mean, if we're getting Zach LaVine out of it, I'm giving him up. 100%. I'm giving him up.
Come playoff, you have no bench.
I mean, the Heat
You're gonna
also
run them.
they take no name guys, pull them up from the G League, and make them relevant. They do that all the time.
Exactly. Like Gabe Vincent, who? I mean, look at him
Right.
now.
Yeah.
On the Lakers, he's injured, but when he was playing, what was he doing?
But how many times? I mean, they are great at doing that. But how many times can it happen? Or how will they all mold together?
I mean, we talked
as
about
much
culture,
as Eric
right?
Spoelstra can.
I just think the team that they got now, it fits those role players that can come in and get better. Jimmy Butler wants you to come in, work hard, and get better. I mean, he was once a guy, maybe not like a Gabe Vincent, but he was not always a top guy. He had to go out and he had to earn it, work hard for it. Bam, he's a great center. He
Now,
had to
Paul,
work hard.
I'm gonna ask you this. I'm gonna say it first, and then after I want you to respond. Okay?
All right.
So, you said Knicks hate it. Why? You can't have it. I don't care if you have OG Anunoby. I don't care if you have the best defender of all time to ever exist. You cannot have a backcourt of 6'1" Jalen Brunson and then the two of Zach LaVine, who has no defense. I don't care what you say. That's a horrible backcourt.
They're OG at the 2,
can
LaVine at the 3.
you can if you have a great defensive center, right? Because
Mitchell
if you
Robinson's out.
not
right now.
forever, he's not out forever,
Yes.
right? So like he'll eventually be back. And then when you have guys, if you can just get them to buy into a system, rotate, yeah, maybe you're good for a couple shuffles on the ball defensively. If you get beat, you get beat, but you buy enough time for a center like Mitchell Robinson to come over and be a presence, right? So I think that's the only way
what
where
are they
something like
giving
that
up
would
to
work.
get him?
Say that again.
What are they giving up to get him?
I have no clue. I have no clue. They just
I think
traded
they'll
most
give
of their
up
assets.
Evan Fournier, maybe Quentin Grimes, and some picks.
It depends. If Fournier's contract is expiring, that might be something that the Bulls are interested in, right? Just gaining some cap space. I do know that that the Knicks only gave up, so they gave up Barrett and they gave up Quickly, but the pick involved in that trade was only a second rounder. I'm not aware. I'm not 100% sure if they still have their first rounder or not. If they do, that's another trade asset right there. So, like, just because they don't have quality players to move doesn't mean that there's not an incentive. Some teams, they just value cap space more. So, like, expiring contracts can be huge. So, I mean, team like that could make it work.
Exactly, and that's why I don't think they trade Julius Randle, because Julius Randle came up big time from the playoffs last year. I mean, you saw the Heat and Knicks series. That was something to watch.
I mean, that Knicks team, it goes with Brunson, bro. It goes with Brunson. Randle's the complementary piece, and I think LaVine is a better complementary piece than Randle.
I don't know. I think they're on the same problem the Mavericks have.
Do we have problems, bro? Like, we're good. We're a good team.
Poor Mavericks. James, I got a text from somebody named Darnell. He said, James, bad take. That guy's playing well.
Who?
Talking about a young guy. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to ask him after this. I'll let you know. You better start locking in, young man.
I looked up the Knicks draft pick. So they got their own this year. They got Dallas's protected up to top 10.
Right.
I think they have a lottery protected from Detroit. They have another lottery protected from the Wizards. So you're looking at 4 first-round picks if, they all fall out of the lottery. I mean, we know the Pistons are horrible. They're definitely getting from 1 to 18. But, I mean, that's still, if you get their first-round pick next year, if it hits the protection. So, I mean, that's a lot of assets in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's
They're not really
plenty
known
to make a
trade their
move.
first-round picks. I mean, if they want to make a serious push, they need somebody big. I think they need a bigger superstar, but without it is right now, I don't think they will get a bigger superstar.
So
Pascal.
exactly. My question is, with all those trade assets, would a team like New York be in the running for any of the other big trade market guys that we haven't even mentioned yet?
Pascal.
I mean,
James, that's
do you
you.
think they would make a move for Pascal?
How much better do they get with Pascal?
I mean, defensively, they get a lot better at the 4 spot. Especially if they move, I know it sound like a Julius Randle hater or whatever, but like if they move Randle
You're
for
definitely Julius
Siakam,
Randle handle.
yeah, he's
Yeah, you are a hater of him.
Julius Scandal. He's the scandal, bro.
Yeah, like you hate him. Like,
No,
But
dude,
then
but
look,
no. But they
what
would
be your
improve
starting
so
five?
much. They would improve so much defensively, and I think Siakam actually. Correct me if I'm wrong. If their points per game isn't close, I think Siakam actually has him beat. Randall, I mean.
don't think he has him beat, but it might be close. I think Siakam averages maybe 21. James, if you want to fact check.
Yeah.
While he's fact checking, Pascal, you're talking about Indiana. Like that a lot, only
Mhm.
because they play fast paced. And of course that helps with defense. Front court of Miles and Pascal is really good, like you're
Mhm.
saying, because their defense is very lackluster. But again, with the help of him, they might really be one of the best teams in the league.
I actually love I love the Indiana fit. And to be honest with you, I think it makes the most sense because the other biggest
Does.
trade market piece is Buddy Hield from the Pacers right now, who just
Yeah.
refused to sign a contract extension with them. So if we're able to move Hield and for Siakam and then whatever other assets are required, that Indiana Pacer team all of a sudden looks really, really scary.
Scarier than they already look.
They look good now.
I mean,
I think we talked a little bit about this off camera one time. It was maybe a couple of days ago, and you mentioned something to me about pace of play with the Pacers. Do you remember that?
yeah. They're first in the league. They're actually record breaking as of right now. Not sure if it'll stick, but as of right now, they're making history.
Right.
Of course, because of Tyrese Halliburton, who I'm a big fan of.
Love
I mean,
Halliburton.
he's over here getting 20 point, 20 assist games. Like, what are you doing? 0 turnovers. Like, he's hooping. Like, that's all I could say.
What are you
And then
doing?
James, you have the fact check.
I do have the fact check. So this season, they're playing both 33 minutes a game. Julius Randle scoring one more point than getting about one more assist, half a block less, committing one more turnover. But let me see their
Hey, James, do me a
percentages.
favor real quick. Scroll down to advanced, right?
Mhm.
Go to DRTG, defensive rating.
Comparison's gonna suck on here.
Actually, what you can do,
DRTJ.
DBPM, defensive box plus minus. I want you to tell me their differences real quick.
So Julius Randle is at a minus 0.3 and
Right.
Pascal is at a 0.4.
Okay, that's actually good difference in advanced stats terms. So he's clearly having a better impact. Julius Randle's having a literal negative impact. Literal. So, yes, it helps. But again, I think the Pacers push for him, man. It's just way better.
Scandal. Get him out of there.
He
I
just
mean,
doesn't.
you see
You think
Pascal's
Julius should be out of
shooting.
the league?
He's not playing for the Shanghai Sharks next year. But I mean, you see Pascal. He's shooting 2% better from the field.
I don't even want to know that 3-point percentage because I know it's ugly right now.
9% less than. Actually, 11% less. Sorry, math was wrong there.
What's
2
Pascal
less
shooting from the three?
points. He is shooting 32%. Oh wait, I'm so sorry. I totally lied on there. Shooting 1% less. I was looking at 2-point and 3-point.
So
Mixed them
what? Pascal's what? 26, 27?
up. Pascal's at 32,
Oh wow.
and
Gross.
Julius Randle's at 33.
I mean, send him to Indiana, bro. Send him over.
I mean, Julius Randle's averaging 3 more total rebounds. If that helps,
I mean,
especially
yeah.
with Mitchell Robinson being out.
But
He's a
then, I
better
mean,
rebounder.
you look at that Toronto team. Scotty gets bored. Jakob Pertl gets bored. Spencer Chiwa gets bored. Well, he's gone.
Got
He got bored.
boards.
Yeah, got
Got
Chris
boards.
Boucher's big, 6'11", 7
Yeah.
foot area. I mean, he doesn't really grab many, but he grabs boards. I mean, so there's a lot of players that get him over Pascal. That's what I gotta say about them. And then yeah, so for Buddy Hield, what are we thinking for him, Paul?
I think Hield makes the most sense. Actually, I don't think a team is going to be able to reach out to the Pacers and get Buddy Hield. Instead, I think Buddy Hield is going to be in a trade piece for whatever Indiana needs, and that's what's going to be most important. Buddy Hield's not a big enough star for a team to trade for him and be like, oh, he's not going to resign here, so we don't want him. I think instead, like we talked about earlier in the Chicago situation, you're going to have you're going to have organizations trade for him that are more interested in releasing the cap space from his expiring contract. So I think it's more likely that, it's either that situation with an expiring contract or he's used in a deal for a guy like Siakam to help bolster the defense a little bit.
And then we were talking a few days ago, maybe yesterday, about Siakam to the Mavericks. Got anything on that?
That's a
Maybe
pipe.
why
It's
he would want
just a pipe dream, dude. It's just a pipe dream.
Okay, so why would you want it?
I mean, dude, we need
What does your team need?
we need so much help on defense and we need so much help rebounding the ball, right? And Siakam is just Swiss Army knife, super versatile, long, lengthy dude. I think when we did speak about this, the only thing that I didn't love was his 3-point percentage, which right now, as a season's concerned, his percentage is down. But for his career, I think he's like a career like 34% shooter or something like that, which is like an acceptable, 3-point percentage rate probably for your power forward. I love him for everything that he could do. I think Jason Kidd's a good enough coach to like be able to utilize him. I think with our pace of play picking up this year, we were last in the league this last year. I think we're like fringe top 10. We might be like 12 or something like that this year for pace of play. I think Siakam fits that perfectly. I could see him running the floor with Kyrie and just God, that I think that looks so good. But I think the issue is we just don't have the value and assets in order to trade for something like that. Like we have Hardy, who I think is going to eventually be a very good player offensively anyway in the league. We have Josh Green, who just signed a 3-year deal with us, and he's been a decent 3-and-D player, a good athlete. But outside of that, I don't see that we really have too many appealing pieces. I wish somebody would take Dwight Powell off our hands. I don't think that's going to happen. So it's kind of, like I said, it's kind of a pipe dream. It's a little bit far-fetched, but, fingers crossed, like if we're going to be competitors, I think the Mavericks have to do something with Hardy and Green and go get it like a stud veteran in here.
I agree. Whole episode, no Dante Exum love. What happened with that? You were loving him at first. Where'd it go?
Exum's
happened,
solid,
Paul?
bro. He's solid, but with the return of Kyrie, he's taking the back seat. He
Yeah.
held it down. He was 14 a game, and like 5-5, I think, were his numbers while Kyrie was out. And Exum was a big hit, especially for some of us who like the player props, the sports betting. I'm always encouraging the over for Exum, but for now, I think the dude settles into something like a 10-3-3, because I definitely think he deserves a role, on the
That's
team.
a
Like
little much.
10-3-3 is not
Let's
that
drop it
big of a
down, like-
deal.
But you can't go from 14 to 10 with adding Kyrie.
I mean, why not?
What was
Why-
he
he
doing
played
before
well
Kyrie?
enough.
He wasn't doing. I don't think he was doing 10 with Kyrie there.
He's solid defensively. He's not a world beater, right? But that's the thing about Exum. He's never
It's
been
not getting you
awesome
10
at
points,
anything.
being good at defense.
I mean, listen,
That's
I'm just
great.
talking about defense can get him and keep him on the court and give him an opportunity to score some. I like Exum, dude.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
not it's not like I was like, oh yeah, get Exum back in the league. Like you were never hearing me say that last year. But you look at that stretch of games with Kyrie, and does he deserve a spot on the team? Does he deserve a longer contract, maybe 2 or 3 years or something like that? I think absolutely. Like, dude's played himself into opportunity for sure.
I think he's kind of found a good role in Dallas. Like they're kind of embracing him, where other teams, the Jazz drafted him, but I don't feel like they really wanted him. If that made sense, like really
Right.
wanted to embrace him. I feel like with Dallas, him having injuries and going overseas, he's come back and he's finding confidence again. And I think, he's not going to get a max deal, but I think he could get a good deal and stay with Dallas and try to build something with them, kind of be a veteran presence in a way, and just help any way possible for new guys, help on defense, like you said. But stop talking about the Mavericks for a second. Tyrese Halliburton just went down with an ankle injury, had to be carried away to the locker room.
Yeah, I saw that. That's
So that's
not a
gonna be
good look.
it didn't look pretty at all.
Uh-oh.
So I mean, could be a bad thing. If he's out long, I mean, it could be a temporary thing where he's out, a week or two.
I
But
hope it's temporary. I'm really a big fan of the guy.
it's just how are the Pacers without him?
More of a fan of Şengün, but I mean, other than that, yeah, he's cool.
I mean, we see the Pacers at what are they right now? They're 7th seed. Say he's out for 2 months. Where are they at that point? Are they even able to make a playoff push if he's out for too long?
Right,
It's
they're
kind of like a
definitely
scary look, and then you got
without Tyrese, that's a play-in team, I think, at best.
Still?
Halliburton is everything to that team, right? They've
Are you
got
saying
quality
still
talent.
though? That's high.
I mean, they might be like the last team participating in the play-in tournament. You know what I mean?
only
Like,
because other teams are so bad and tanking.
yeah.
I mean, the Eastern
Yeah.
Conference is pretty weak compared to the West.
I mean, there's a good enough coach there in Carlisle. There's decent enough talent. I mean, you still have Miles Turner, right? There's still other guys there. Buddy Hield's still there for now, right? Like, and if he doesn't get traded, he plays out his contract. I mean, this is something that could affect a potential Buddy Hield trade. So, there's still decent talent on the roster and decent enough coaching to where a play-in team. I don't think that's too crazy of a statement, personally.
As long as they don't lose themselves, like morale wise, chemistry wise, with taking a big hit of losing your all-star player, which is a shame if he's out for All-Star Weekend because All-Star Weekend is in Indianapolis this year.
Yeah, that would suck.
That would suck. I'm not gonna lie.
That would suck. I
Like
mean,
your hometown All-Star got injured right before All-Star break in a
yeah.
big game against the Celtics.
Right. All right. I got two more things for us, and I want to talk about college football. Who we got, and then for the NFL, just predictions of who we think's gonna win it all, and who beats who to get there. If that's okay with you guys,
Yep.
then I'll stop wasting your time. Let you go on with your night.
Yeah, I'm actually super pumped to talk football. I know that's like
All right.
mostly next podcast.
Right.
Super geeked to talk about it. The Cowboys just got second seed, so I'll leave that
Oh,
there.
I know
but-
you're. Oh
Be-
God! Don't even
Well,
argue. Don't even
quiet,
argue.
Paul.
Just let it.
Yeah, not today, Paul. We'll save it for another day.
You wouldn't want to. I'm sure you don't want to talk about it. I get it.
We
He
them
needs to
boys.
get ready for this. I'm not gonna lie. He
We
needs to
them
get
boys.
ready.
We them boys. Here we go. I
All right,
mean,
so
football. The
what are
only
we
thing I
doing?
want to touch
College?
on football today is national championship game. I mean, I
Oh,
had
not even
Washington to start the
predictions.
game. What
Not
for
even
NBA?
predictions for NFL. Who we
No,
got?
no. We'll
Okay.
save that.
Okay.
We'll just talk about what's current right now. That's what we've
Yeah.
been doing. Might as well stay with it. Talk about football another day. I had Washington to start the game. I hate Michigan a lot. I like Michael Penix a lot. They're down 17-3 right now. Michigan's a perfect team. They can hit you anywhere. They're patient. They wait for you to slip up and they attack hard, but I don't know. It's a shame. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. So before the game, I think I told Dom, I got Michigan. I'm a guy who believes at the end of the day, especially when football is concerned, that defense is what wins postseason, right? And Michigan definitely has a better defense, especially the defensive line. They get a lot of pressures. They force a lot of sacks. They get a lot of interceptions just based off of the pressure. I know Penix has looked good and has like definitely risen his draft stock just because of the quality of play. But at the end of the day, like I said, defense wins it, and Michigan by far has the better defense.
Way better defense. And the Michigan plays a very patient offense as well. To where, they played in the Big Ten. I would say the Big Ten is better than the Pac-12. They play
yeah.
harder competition throughout the year. So, I mean, I think Washington really wasn't ready for a game like this. I mean, somebody could debate that they weren't ready for Texas and they still won, but they played Texas last year. And I think they played in the Alamo Bowl. So, I mean, they've seen Texas before. They've seen Quinn Ewers before. maybe Phoenix isn't ready for the big moment. There's a lot of pressure, a lot of media coverage, but Michigan's just too good of a team to deny. JJ McCarthy plays great on their offense. Blake Corum's great running back. Like you said, their defense. There's not many flaws on that team. The only flaws is they steal signs, which
Maybe.
I mean, apparently every team does, but they're the only ones getting called out for it right now.
Yeah, they definitely. Yeah, I think everybody does, but I think right now I do want to say this. I'm looking at the stats right now. This is like low key cheating or whatever because it's a who do you got type scenario. But if Michigan does win, I don't think it's going to be Penix. I'm looking at the stats and he's 8 for 14 for 80 yards, which is like not good by any means, but it's definitely not bad. He hasn't been turned over just yet. But I do think when you have a defense like Michigan's who brings a lot of pressure, right, who puts a lot of pressure on quarterbacks to make the right decision all the time, it's like you have to act instantly. And I think the disparity in the receiver talent for Washington is going to stand out. It's like if you only have a quick second to think and your guys aren't getting open and you got to throw in tight windows, it's like, bro, and that's one of those things
I mean,
think
we saw last week. Penix can make them tight windows. Penix.
Yeah.
Some people pronounce it different. He can make tight windows. It's just they're all around great. And he's 8 for 10, or 8 for 14, or whatever he said. Now he's 9 for 15 live update, but he's only been sacked once. So I mean that's not a bad first quarter considering first and about a quarter way through. I mean that's not bad for the pressure they do. I mean 14 points is not a lot to come back from. Still got a whole 2.5 quarters to play.
Yep.
So I mean, hopefully Washington comes back and wins. I mean, if Michigan does win, they do deserve it. They're a great team. They've been a great team. This class has been great for them. So I mean, the best player is going to win the game, and it doesn't just take one person. It's not just one person winning it for Michigan, and it's not going to be one person winning it for Washington.
I'm live betting Washington. They got it in the bag. Don't worry about it.
Crazy take.
Yeah, you just made a donation.
Oh, shut the.
I know this is supposed to be the last thing. Can we quick fire NFL playoff predictions? Can we rapid fire
I'm fine with it.
before we go?
Can I just get a dark horse and a
Dark horse, what? Super Bowl winner or
yes,
conference winner?
Yes.
Super Bowl winner.
I have one.
Let me say mine first.
Okay.
Dark horse, Super Bowl winner, Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
Number 2 seed, is that really that's a dark horse pick?
But
the way they've been doubted this year, yes.
Okay.
They're criticized very heavy, and they went on a great run. I mean, they're not looked at as right now. They won against the Bills last night, or the Dolphins, but I mean, you still see Josh Allen getting hated on for his turnovers.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely is a problem, but it doesn't seem like anybody really believes in their way over there. I mean, the Browns seem to be getting more hype because Joe Flacco's making a revive.
Yeah. I think that's my pick. I think I'm going to go with the Browns. Like I don't know if I'm picking them to win a Super Bowl, but if there's like a low end team that I think could creep out a couple wins, maybe get to the conference championship, I think Cleveland might be it. NFC wise,
like the Eagles Super Bowl run, like an underdog story.
Right. Again, we talk about it all the time. It's like who's hot going in. I think Cleveland's hot. On the other side, I think the Rams could surprise some people. I think that Rams-Detroit matchup, I've got Detroit squeaking it out, but I think it's going to be a tough one. I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams, win in there.
I think Matthew Stafford's gonna prove them to be frauds.
Maybe.
Matthew Stafford has a vengeance. They never want to help him. His old Detroit lines are in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think he comes in and he plays better.
My dark horse.
I was about to say the Texans.
Houston Texans.
I actually love that
pick.
It
just fits. It fits a great narrative, like rookie of the year. I mean,
maybe
he
should be maybe. Yeah.
He will be. Now
I don't know Puka.
He comes in, gets hated on because of his take, saying Michael Vick and Deshaun Watson it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who looked up to?
I think he said
right?
Watson.
Watson and did he say Vic?
Don't remember Vic. Could be though.
I mean, well, whoever he said. He's getting hated on. And like you said with the test. I mean, this is football. It's not a test. So I just feel like it fits the narrative. He looks good. He's playing well. Nico Collins, of course, had a great season. Random. D'Amico Ryans looks like a great head coach. I mean, I can see pulling it through personally. And then my real pick
I don't think they're strong
is
enough.
that's fair, but my real pick is the Ravens against 49ers. 49ers winning.
That's so boring. The number 1 seeds.
Yeah,
Hey,
All right. All
I
right.
Basic
mean,
white
I
girl
see
over
it.
here.
All right.
You're,
All right.
That's what I see.
Let's do
you're like
this.
the dude that predicts the Super Bowl off the logo colors. They're like, oh, these two dudes are gonna make it. It's purple and red. Like, no.
All right. Let's
No, I
run
mean,
through the
that's
let's run through the bracket. I want everyone to say their picks. Yeah.
Quick fire.
Okay. Let's start with the AFC. We've got Pittsburgh and Buffalo. James,
Buffalo by far.
Dom.
yeah, not even close.
By
Buffalo.
landslide.
Yeah, I got Buffalo big. Yeah.
By natural disaster.
Here's a good one. This one might be the best one of the entire weekend. Miami, Kansas City.
Kansas City.
Miami.
Tough. Kansas City. I'm not going against Mahomes in the playoffs.
The Cardinals beat more teams over 500 than the Dolphins did.
What about
Right.
the Eagles?
The Eagles did too.
My fault.
Cleveland, Houston.
Oh, wait for my picks. Houston.
Dom,
Houston, yeah.
going Cleveland. Big win. Cleveland with a big win.
like Stroud.
Flacco with a
He said,
300-yard
he said
game.
I play football.
Yep.
Stroud said I play football. I don't take tests.
Philly, Tampa Bay.
Philly. Sadly.
Tampa Bay.
Philly stinks right
I'm
now.
joking.
Philly stinks right now, and they're getting hurt.
Yeah, wait for the Cowboys-Packers game. Come on.
Philly stinks right now. They've got a lot of injuries. Tampa Bay at home with Baker. I'm taking Tampa Bay. Let's do Rams, Detroit.
You act like Baker's Rams.
I'm gonna go Rams.
I've got Detroit, even though I'm not a big Dan Campbell guy.
Come on, say it.
Last
right
one, best game. Green Bay and Dallas at Dallas.
here. Packers by far.
You sound like a
Jordan
hater.
Love's gonna show. Jordan Love is gonna show people why he will be great, and what better way to do it in your first season as a starter than knock off the Cowboys at home? What's the Lions gonna do? Go do it when the Lions gonna.
Dom, who you got?
Go Pack, go.
It's up to me, isn't it?
Green Bay and Dallas. Who you got?
Go Pack,
To
go.
me. I'm gonna go with the Green Bay Packers.
That's my guy right there.
Well, I hope nobody's keeping score. When this is all over, I'm going to have a way better playoff record than both of y'all.
Packers money
It's
line.
easily the
All right,
Cowboys.
Packers money line.
All right. I got Cowboys. You're right.
Yo, all
I
the
do wanna
favorites
go
can't
Bills
always
Buffalo.
win, Paul. Favorites can't always win. There's always the Cinderella
The
story.
Packers might not. You know what? They may as well not even show up. I want to be honest with you. They may as well not even show
Wow.
up. Just call in sick,
Yeah.
dude. Just call in sick. You're not winning at AT&T Stadium. Sorry, bud.
Calling sick. Call it Jordan Love's flu game.
Yeah, okay.
How about we save this for Thursday?
Those are the rapid fire picks, even though they weren't rapid fire. They're just the picks.
Go Pack, go.
Such a hater. This shit is insane.
Paul, let's make a deal.
I'm
If Packers win this week, you got to buy a Jordan Love jersey.
How about if Tampa wins, you got to buy a Baker jersey?
Only if you keep your end.
Okay. I'll do that.
Sounds good.
All right.
I love it. I love
And you got to
it.
wear it for the rest of the playoffs while that team is
That's
still there.
crazy. That's crazy. I'll wear it to the next podcast.
Hey, once your Cowboys are eliminated, you might as well watch the Packers since you got the jersey.
Yeah, well, then we'll watch the Packers next season because it's next time they'll play.
It's funny. All right, well,
Wild.
ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap up our first ever episode of the Rival Sports Podcast. Thank you for coming out, and I love you all.